If the court does not rule for him, he's finished. He's destroyed forever.
True.
You understand? And may not even be in a position to continue functioning as minority leader. True. His credibility would have been shattered completely. But be that as it may,
all right, abusia ya science so ahia biem ye hia se dia na nsem no dia ko ene dia ba ni na na yetena se edi ho enkomo na abusia se sam no ka side dia Kwasi Pratt Junior waba bedi nkomo Afenyo-Markin a che se ane dia Akwasi age say if Afenyo-Markin make mistake ne political career ebe hye yes Sammy Gyamfi ebe end ne political career che se abusia Akwasi ebe bedi nkomo a waka nsem GoldBod and one say GoldBod boa Ghana and I say GoldBod boa Ghana ni na no Akwasi say GoldBod initiate no boa Ghana papa into only there obebo President Mahama abaso abusia and summary there anoden Ghana politics TV because say na first time I need them no subscribe at the moment say any update bianso etomo you be the first person abusia obenya bi et na wa share ama afofro nso enya bi ati enti abusia enkomani na Afenyo-Markin and Sammy Gyamfi court case na sesi ane de amanfo HSL Sammy ebe ende Afenyo-Markin ne political career Afenyo-Markin so ebe ende Sammy Gyamfi from GoldBod elo na sesi ano course na Kwasi HSL say Afenyo-Markin anhwe ye na se court na wakono court ya ne dia ene onka hu say MPP for be pamo no ena chese ni position as a minority leader ne krampo ndie at once na instant ebe free nsa GoldBod amanfo chese GoldBod emboa Ghana and that was chese Mahama obeja good legacy because GoldBod no de buy no eno na sesi ama Ghana sesi an ye ho atoye kakra a chese amanfo etumi koba jese adwuma na endoso e Ghana but niema mu ayemre kakra na abusia me pese meka sa bebebe yewura mu na yentie hawa Kwasi Pratt Junior edi nkomo FI
it will be positive. On the other hand, if the court does not rule for him, he's finished. He's destroyed forever.
True.
You understand? And may not even be in a position to continue functioning as minority leader. True. His credibility would have been shattered completely. But be that as it may, he knew the risk he was taking when he went to court. You know, and he's a lawyer. I'm not the one to tell him whether he should have taken that risk or not. I note, on the other hand, that his accuser is very firm and confident. I've heard him on several discussions where he says, I dare him to go to court. What does he have that we don't know? And I don't even want to know. It's for the court to know. Is it that he has something? What may he have? I don't know. The courts will determine that matter.
Right.
I've read the petition before the court. I'm not even too sure whether I should call it petition, but I've read it. And there's something which is most instructive.
Is it a writ?
The writ has been filed at the High Court.
Yes. There's something which is most instructive. The minority leader goes to court and he says, I'm not just suing Sammy Gyamfi, I'm also suing Joy.
The media platforms, both Peace FM and Joy.
Yeah, I'm suing them. And then, in his own writ, he says that the Joy presenter actually challenged Sammy Gyamfi and disassociated the station from the statement that Sammy Gyamfi was making and so on.
So why sue them?
So why sue Joy? What is the trick? I don't know. It's maybe my illiteracy in law, which is killing me. But I can't understand.
Yeah.
You've taken somebody to court for defamation who you claim was defending your image and saying that the allegations against you have not been proven. Massa, I don't understand.
It's difficult to reconcile
it's difficult. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But I think I better stop here before I get into trouble.
Contempt of court.
Because I don't want to get into trouble. So I will stop here. But very strange.
Yeah.
Very strange rate. it's okay, let me stop here and move on.
Okay.
You see, I have in my hands. And this was given to me by Moro.
I've been studying it.
Yeah, Moro gave it to me.
Amuro didn't give me one.
Don't worry.
There's only one. I only have one. I gave it to you.
And in
He's
fact,
a senior.
I've
He's a
looked
senior.
through it. These are the financial statements of the GoldBod. And I've carefully looked through it. And there's no loss indicated in the books of the GoldBod. No loss at all. Okay? Indeed, everything here is positive. Everything that I've seen is positive. For example, if you look at revenue position, it says total revenue for the year amounted to 5.5 billion, more than 5.5 billion, comprising non-tax revenue of 970 million in excess, government grant in excess of actually 4 billion, finance income in excess of 35 million, and so on and so on. So everything in the books is positive. You understand?
Yeah.
There's no loss here. So that's clear. Okay. Then we are told that it is the International Monetary Fund which is insisting that some loss occurred.
Okay.
I have with me what is titled Lessons from the Bank of Ghana's Domestic Gold Purchase Program, authored by the International Monetary Fund.
Yes,
It's
sir.
August.
Yeah, it's authored by the International Monetary Fund, dated August 2026. And it says, selected issues paper. This is IMF. This is not GoldBod. This is the International Monetary Fund.
Right.
And the International Monetary Fund itself summarizes its findings in one paragraph.
Right.
Very interesting paragraph. This is how the paragraph reads. It's from this same write-up. Here. And this is how it reads. It says, this paper examines the legacy of the Bank of Ghana's domestic gold purchases program, which helped formalize artisanal gold exports, rebuild reserves, and support foreign exchange market stabilization during Ghana's debt crisis. This is the IMF, which is being quoted as saying there's a loss. The program scaled rapidly, making gold-related flows central to reserve accumulation and FX sales. This is the bank, this is the International Monetary Fund. But also generated sizable losses for the Bank of Ghana and exposed quasi-fiscal risk.
Yes.
Mark you,
Yes,
the wording is most important.
Very important, yes. You're listening.
It doesn't even talk about fiscal risk. It says quasi-fiscal risk.
Yes, but at least there's a risk.
Quasi-fiscal risk, that is what the IMF says. With operations transferred to GoldBod, future gold sector policy should focus on reducing operational costs. Operational costs.
Right.
Strengthening transparency, improving responsible sourcing, and managing the microeconomic, physical, and environmental risk from Ghana's expanding gold sector. This is the IMF.
Yes.
So, in one breath, if you listen to the IMF, what they describe as loss is also described as cost.
No.
No, sir.
No,
Here is
no,
it.
no, no.
No, read it for yourself.
I listened to, but what the entire loss they talk about is not the operational cost.
Shall I read
It
it
says,
again?
no, I listen, it says reduce
Master.
operational cost. It's that part of operational cost that leads to losses.
Master, listen.
Yes.
Listen.
So losses in itself is not operational cost.
Master, no problem. Listen. It says, this paper, that is this, examines the legacy of the Bank of Ghana's domestic gold purchase program, which helped formalize artisanal gold exports, rebuild reserves, and support foreign exchange market stabilization during Ghana's debt crisis. That's the verdict of the IMF. That whatever is calculated as loss and so on, did these things that the IMF identifies.
Yes, please continue.
Hold on.
Yes.
The program scaled rapidly, making gold-related flows central to revenue accumulation and forex sales. You understand? But generated sizable losses for the Bank of Ghana and exposed quasi-financial risk.
No, Uncle, please repeat that
It's
point.
one sentence.
No, repeat it.
I'll repeat it for
Generated
you.
sizable loss.
But
That's also a very
generated-
important word.
Yes, but
sizable loss.
Oh, hold on.
No, Uncle,
hold on.
you are
I'm
repeating
reading
some
it.
aspects.
Have I hidden it? You want me to repeat?
Yes, I
I'm
just
going
want to repeat it.
Hold
Yes.
on. But also generated
Yes.
sizable losses for Bank of Ghana and exposed quasi-physical risk.
Yes.
That's what the IMF says.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, my brother. This is your yes. That doesn't solve any problem. My brother, take your time.
Yes, Uncle.
You see, accounting is an interesting area. And there are all kinds of concepts in accounting. So, for example, in accounting, if money is lost, it may be described, and you should know that, it may be described as general deficiency. When money is missing in accounts and it's described as general deficiency, there's no criminal motive. You understand?
Yeah.
You cannot prosecute for general deficiency. Even though the money is not there, money which is supposed to be there is not there, once it's described as resulting from general deficiency and so on, there are other factors, administrative, costs, and so on, which go into the declaration of general deficiency and so on. That's accounting. In accounting, you may, as the IMF has done, calculate cost as losses. And you may decide that because they are costs, they cannot be counted as losses. It depends on the perspective of whoever is writing that report. You understand?
Yes.
Now, the point is that every policy measure which is implemented, without exception, has cost. There's no policy measure which is implemented without cost. It has cost. Should we then describe the cost as losses or what? That's the question that faces us. You understand? So even when you come to look at the Bank of Ghana, what is sitting on the books of the Bank of Ghana, they may not be losses, they may be costs. Dependent on who is doing the evaluation and what yardstick the evaluer determines to use, it may be counted as cost. Now, the question to ask is cost for what? And I read that portion, which is clear. This is what the IMF itself is saying. The cost for what? It is cost for the formalization of artisanal gold exports. It is cost for rebuilding reserves. It is cost for supporting the foreign exchange market stabilization during Ghana's debt crisis. These are the activities. These are the intended objectives which have been achieved. So these are costs for what we're experiencing today. You see, the fall, the improvement in the value of the cedi from 17 to $1 to 11 to $1 came with a cost. What is that cost? Is that cost a loss? the drop in inflation figures came with a cost. What is that cost? You understand? Even the reduction in the external debt position of Ghana must come with a cost. The stabilization of artisanal mining exports from artisanal mining, which the IMF recognizes, must come with a cost. What is the cost? So we should not be confusing cost of policy implementation with losses. That's one point. Now, the second point is that this program, which is being implemented today by the GoldBod, or which was implemented by the GoldBod in 2025, is the same model which was designed by the NPP administration. And that is why NPP communicators have insisted that the GoldBod should not be given credit for what is happening, and that the credit rightly belongs to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. If I lie, tell me.
The IMF has said so.
Huh?
The report has said so, that it started in 2022. So that's a fact.
Okay, now if that is a fact, if the GoldBod is implementing the model that you designed with these cost implications, where is the noise coming from? Why is there so much noise? But it's the same model. And indeed, when in 2024, the implementation of the model which you designed incurred more debt than we are incurring today. More losses, if you are to use the word losses, than we are incurring today.
No, not necessarily, because you just talked about a 2024 loss, which is about $400 million US. I mean, you can't compare that to 1.7 billion for 2025, quite clearly.
Look at the volumes.
Well, okay.
You see, don't do one-sided analysis.
I get it.
The figures are not absolute.
Yes.
The figures relate to volumes. Also.
I agree.
So if you look at volumes, you cannot be making the statement that you're making.
I agree.
You understand what I'm saying?
I get it.
So what is this noise about?
I understand. I get the point you're making.
What is this noise about? The only way to understand this noise is to listen to that MPP, former member of parliament, who was talking to party communicators in the headquarters.
Angwesi, that's not fair. That's not fair.
That's a matter.
That is not fair, Angwesi. That cannot be fair. Angwesi is not fair.
What do you mean it's not
But
fair?
he has just told you that the Sylvester matter is his matter.
It's not fair.
It's not an
trying
NPP
to
matter.
spread the impression that we are doing propaganda.
I'm saying that Sylvester Mensah's matter
It's his matter.
is a Sylvester Mensah
Yes,
matter.
sly matter.
Sly matter.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes.
What I'm saying is that given the analysis that I have made,
Okay.
given the analysis of the International Monetary Fund itself, given history, a 2-year history,
Yes.
given the claim that even Collins has made before, that this whole GoldBod project is not new. It's a Bawumia introduced project. Where is the noise coming from? How do you explain the noise if you don't listen to Sylvester Mensah?
No, Angwesi.
Show me.
No. My brother, what are the issues? Angwesi, you just read a document to us from the IMF. And you said everything is summarized in the preamble.
Document.
Of course, in the preamble. Then you said that the preamble talked about the benefits. Nobody has any argument with that. But the preamble also told you that there were sizable losses. Then you proceeded to say that the IMF also made a point about reducing operational costs. And you linked operational costs to losses. And said that the IMF at one point talks about losses and another point talks about operational costs. And I think that even the IMF themselves are interlinked in their comments. I'm saying no. Losses are losses. Operational cost is operational cost. There's no ambiguity with that. Of course, if you look at the paper, the book, the document that you just handed over to me, let's go to 13, paragraph 13. DGPP operations have generated significant losses for the BOG. This is the IMF own document. There's no ambiguity as to whether there are losses or operational costs. There's no ambiguity. There's a loss. In fact, the IMF themselves make it clear here that in 2024, there was a loss of 400 million, which was 0.5% of GDP. In 2025, it has gone on to 1.7 billion, which is 1.5% of GDP. So there's no ambiguity between the losses and operational costs. There's no ambiguity. There is a loss. That's fundamental. And that is why the IMF themselves have told you that there's a quasi-risk. There's a risk to the Bank of Ghana's operations if they continue recording these losses in their books. My argument is that how do we as a country begin to fashion out the operations of GoldBod and Bank of Ghana's gold purchase program to ensure that we don't come back to another 1.7 billion loss? That is significant. That is my point.
My brother.
That is my point. And it is very clear here, Ambrose, as to whether the program started in 2022 or not. That is a fact. The IMF document itself, and I can read it. It started during the domestic debt crisis, which was in 2022. So go to paragraph 7. They've made that clear. But the GoldBod, as they said, is a scale-up. What we were doing in 2022, we didn't have a GoldBod Act that made the GoldBod a monopoly. We didn't have that in 2022. So we can commend them for that scale-up. Obviously, it has its own implications.
So this is in response to the volumes argument.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We didn't have a monopoly. Now, every small scale you can buy, you can't sell unless you GoldBod. So obviously, it will scale up on the basis of the new act. That is fundamental.
Master.
So you see,
Yes,
there's
sir.
no difference between operational costs and losses.
Right.
What the World Bank is telling you is that we have seen some significant gains. These gains is bringing some sizable losses to Bank of Ghana. And they're even telling Bank of Ghana to scale down on the activities within that space. I've listened to Sammy Gyamfi last time they held a program, that they are trying to now be on their own, not to rely on the Bank of Ghana to supply them. That is the way to see how we are going to reduce those losses. But as to whether there is loss or not, there is a loss of 1.7 billion. It is unprecedented. Let's all have a conversation about it and see how best we can turn things around. It is not an operational cost. It is a loss in the books of Bank of Ghana.
Okay, Moro. Here is the IMF saying that a certain operation is leading to losses. So you would expect that the operation which is leading to losses, which the IMF itself has identified, the IMF would not want to invest in it. True or false?
Right. I get the point you're making.
Now you have a situation where the IMF, which is claiming that that operation incurs losses and so on, is offering to invest in that operation which is incurring losses. Does that make sense?
I don't know where that. Maybe I don't have that information.
I'm giving you that information.
Okay. I don't have that information that the IMF wants to invest.
Because according to the GoldBod, it has two offers.
Yes.
One from the Bank of Ghana and one from the International Monetary Fund to raise the finances necessary for this operation,
That's true.
which they claim is causing losses.
I get you, but I foresee.
Can I finish?
Okay, sorry. Proceed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it simply doesn't make any sense at all. Okay? So in doing analysis, you have to bring in all of these things. In order that your analysis is cogent and so on, it doesn't make sense. Then for me, I'm looking at the ideological underpinnings in these matters. What the Mahama administration is doing is alien to the IMF's prescriptions.
Okay.
The IMF over the years, way before, but let's take the base year as 1983. The IMF's position has been that the city should be allowed to fall freely on the international market. That's the IMF position. IMF has consistently been opposed to measures which will stabilize the city since 1983. Now, what is the consequence? The consequence of that is that since 1983, the Ghanaian cedi has been devalued by more than 34,000%. Check the figures. So what the Mahama administration is doing is that it is showing that the IMF's prescription since 1983 has not worked, is not workable, and that there's a viable alternative which can stabilize the national currency. Obviously, the IMF will not be happy with this. Okay? Now, if there's an ideological positioning which pitches the IMF against the Mahama administration, are you surprised that cost of policy implementation is being classified as losses? It's an ideological battle. We are in the realm of ideological